Okay, so let us start a new topic regarding design under DCIT 26. So it is entitled A Comprehensive Guide to Mobile Application Design. Now, what are the two things to consider in mobile app design? Or I can say in any systems design. First is the UI followed by the UX. So we have to consider a good user interface or UI in order to get a good UX or user experience. Now, uh, there are certain elements that we have to consider, but to sum it all up, uh, we have to focus on clarity of the design and remove unnecessary interface decorations. So, this can only also be applicable to your everyday life or everyday design of your life. If you're a student or if you're a husband or a wife or just mabait na anak na tinatawag, we encounter different problems. No, but have you heard about uh, if you have a certain problem, the best solution to that problem is simply not thinking of the problem or ignoring the problem. How come? No. So if you'll be overthinking and yet wala ka namang magagawa dun sa situation na yon for this time, ang mangyayari niyan, yung ibang processes na ah, kailangan mong gawin is maapektuhan. Ano yun? Definitely, sa araw-araw, hindi lang naman isa yung problema natin na madami yan. Now, if we focus on that specific problem itself, yung ibang task natin, definitely maapektuhan yan. Sabi ko nga, uh, how will you know if you have a certain problem? No, you look at the symptoms. There are certain problems that you encounter na hindi problema ng iba. Bakit? Kasi hanggat hindi nila nararamdaman yung sintomas na may problema sila, hindi sila mag-iisip ng alternative. Okay? Now, here, uh, it says that the average user spends 5 hours per day on mobile. Okay. Now, for starting uh, last week, we can say that there's an increase in the daily mobile usage. How come? Because the depth learning started last week. Now, I myself encountered problems regarding specific terms pag tinuturuan ko yung isa kong anak na grade 1, tapos may grade 2 din ako. Ano? May mga terms doon na kailangan kong i-google. Okay? Now, there are certain moments naman na they tend to not read with the module but with the electronic one. So, they'll be using their cell phone or nanghihiram ng laptop sa akin. Yun nga yung naging problem ko is if you can recall, nag-post ako dun sa group chat natin na humingi ako ng sorry kasi nasira yung laptop ko. No. In-inform ko kayo kagad nun. But, hindi ako yung daily iniisip ko, laptop ko. Kasi, yung laptop ko naman, nasa gawaan na. Nasa sa kanila na yon kung maayos nila. Hindi ako nag-overthink na baka may mas mahal na pyesa or baka masyadong mahal yung ibayad ko. hinihintay ko na lang kung ano yung lumabas na conclusion dun sa checking nila. Pag kung ano man ang lumabas dun ko lang isipin uli yung problema. Okay? Kung iisipin ko yun ng iisipin, ang dami ko pang trabahong ginagawa. Okay. Now, sabi dito, the difference between a good application and a bad application is usually the quality of its user experience. Now, sensya na kayo malabo, no? These are the factors that influence user experience. When you are in your freshman, you've studied about the quality criteria of a good information. So, meron dong yung ilan dyan, no? Ang laging nagtatanong dun sa, ang tinatanong ng bata, sir, ano po yung timeliness of information? No? Eh di yung kahit na gaano kaganda mo gawin yung, or i-prepare yung project mo or assignment mo, which is the information itself, wherein hindi naman yung naabot dun sa deadline na sinet, yun yung may concern with the time. Yun yung wala kasi dito sa honeycomb of user experience natin. Okay. So, daanan lang natin ng konti. Pag sinabi nating useful is, syempre, it fulfills the need ng user. Okay? So, sabi nila, the content should be 90% to 100% original. But at this time, syempre we usually browse the net or look for books for contents. Even for your thesis yun yung sinasabi nila. But it's really, really difficult to come up with a 100% original resource. Now, for the usability or being usable, okay? So, definitely the application must be easy to use. Even for your thesis, it should be usable by non-IT students or non-IT people. Okay. Next is, syempre, the design. So, desirability or desirable. Yung images, branding, and other design elements should be what? Should be easily appreciated by yung tinuturo ko dun sa anak ko, by the general public. Sabi ko, we are all under the universal set. So, lagi natin i-consider yung all ages together with all the genders. Now, ano naman yung findable? So, pag sinabi nating findable, all the contents needs to be locatable on-site and off-site. Okay? So, yun yung isang nandito sa new normal natin, no? For the DepEd, there are two options. If you'll be going with the modular, wherein per modules, walang teachers. Yung isa naman is you'll be undergoing almost a face-to-face subject, but the pitfalls are internet connections and the availability of gadgets. So wala na tayong pasukan. Okay? Now, later when I'm discussing, malalaman nyo rin kung bakit ba si Sir ay hindi masyadong nagpapa-assess sa inyo. Pamagalit kayo, hindi ako masyadong nagpapa-assignment, nagpapa-quiz. Okay? So, meron din diyang factor regarding the design. Now, for the accessibility or accessible is as simply as contents should be accessible to all the people. Ano yun? Ano ba yung accessibility na tinatawag doon, including people with disabilities. Okay? So, parang ang hirap naman gumamit ng app na ganun or gumawa ng mag-design ng app na ganun. But those are the things to be considered. And then, we also have the credibility or credible. So, kailangan yung mga nilalagay nyo dyan should be believable. Okay? So, ayun yung mga ano natin. Ano ba, ba't ba nandun sa gitna yung valuable? If mat-target natin yung 4 out of 6 ng mga to, maybe the user will, or the end user will return to your application because of the value na na-impart niya sa kanya. Okay? Now, first is, ito yung mga tips or recommendations that you can apply to your design. Okay? First is, minimize cognitive load. Okay? So, define muna natin. Cognitive load refers here to the amount of brain power required to use the app. The human brain has a limited amount of processing power, and when an app provides too much information at once, it might overwhelm the user and make them abandon the task. Okay. Now, this talks about overthinking. Again, binanggit ko kanina, bakit ba si Sir Cruzate hindi sumasabay sa dami ng ibinibigay na assessment requirements ng ibang subject? How come? Kasi yung mga assessments na yon, I considered it as problems. Okay? Now, problems were in the new normal. Okay? I consider it as, kung ako ay estudyante, yung binabrag natin sa internet, too much isipin. Wherein totoo yun. Kasi wala naman tayo sa ganong idea dati. Nandun nga tayo sa transition. But alam nyo ba na yung too much problems regarding studying in this new normal takes up a crucial brain bandwidth. Okay? So, ano yun? Pag masyadong loaded yung isip mo with the amount, yung capability ng pag-iisip mo, humihina. Okay? So, familiar naman tayo with the bandwidth. Now, ang mangyayari dyan, nare-reduce din yung what's left to learn the new things. Okay? So, yung buhay natin ngayon is not focused sa pag-aaral lang. Madaming nagwo-work para makatulong sa magulang. Kung may pamilya ka, kailangan mo mag-work. Okay? And meron tayong iba-iba, not just financial problems, but emotional problems that we have to face. If masyadong magiging loaded, yung tinatawag nga na cognitive natin, is hindi tayo mag-a-advance but magiging static tayo dun sa posisyon na yun. Okay? Now, for the design, pag tiningnan mo yung isang app na sobrang dami kagad nangyayari pagbukas mo pa lang. Ganun pala yung nangyayari sa augmented reality app nung thesis ko nung una. Gusto kong mapakita pagbukas, andun na kayo agad lahat. Wherein, professor niya na ako, yun yung mindset ko. Pag nung advisor ko, Lon, isipin mo lang yan, parang logo lang yan ng HP, Apple. No? A simple logo says itself na kung ano yung branding. Apple, Apple. Okay? So, tanggalin natin yun. Ito na yung sunod, no? Yung cluttering na tinatawag. Okay? Clutter is one of the worst enemies of a good design. By cluttering your interface, you overload the users with too much information. Okay? Now, ano yung meron dito? Yan nga, minimalist design. Totoo yung simplicity is beauty natin. Okay? You have to consider the general design lagi. Tingnan nyo kung ano yung in. Okay? So, maglinis. Parang dito sa pinagre-recordan ko, nagpalinis muna ako before ako mag-start. And I consider what kanina kasi umuulan. So, inintay ko pa bago tumahimik man lang. Pinatay ko yung electric fan para sa akin. Considered as clutters ko yan. Okay? So, I'm designing now. But, I'm using kung ano lang yung gamit ko. Wala akong special na mic or whatsoever. I'm just using my laptop's mic. Okay? And bulol pa si Sir. Now, there are additional for decluttering. No? The technique of functional minimalism can help you deal with the problem of cluttered user interface. First is, keep content to a minimum. So, kung ano lang yung kailangan, yun lang. Okay. Sabi dun sa, splash screen. Title and logo, yun lang. Next is how to use. Screenshot nun, yun lang. Okay? Wala nang kung ano-ano. May pupuntahan pa naman tayong ibang forms or ibang pages, doon na lang natin ilagay. Okay? Tingnan natin doon. Itong example. Okay? Keep interface elements to a minimum. A simple design will keep the user at ease with the product. So, kung titingnan natin, sensya na, Apple example ito. So, ito lang naman pala ang kailangan ng user. Huwag nyo nang lagyan ng madaming ganyan. Applicable to dati nung nagpa-flash ako pag nag-load ako ng video. Ang lagi kong pinipili para hindi maligaw yung user ko is kung ano lang yung mga options na kailangan niya. Okay. Another is using the technique of progressive disclosure. So, buti na lang nakakuha si Sir ng GIF. Sabi dito, the interface reveals more options after interaction. No. Kesa, ang pangit kasi niyan, scroll tayo ng scroll. Much better yung ganitong output. Yung advice ko regarding yung naghahanap ka ng tutor, parang ganyan yung UI niyan. Okay? Now, for upload task naman, look for anything in the design that requires user effort and look for alternatives. Now, there are good and bad uploads. Okay? So, ano ba yung uploading? Ang idea niyan, yan yung masakit once na, kunwari, pupunta ka sa ibang bansa, tapos may dala kang bag, tapos lumampas ka dun sa limit mo, mag-upload ka. Or minsan, dun sa hand carry mo, nakita ng kung sino man, meron kang deadly weapon dyan, or meron kang mga kasama sa ibang minsan nga, mga lotion lang yan, o dinedeload nila yan. Okay? So, Dito naman, for for the idea of offloading dun sa simple example is yung reusing ng contents from other sheets sa Excel. Okay? Uploading din yon. And ano yan? Ano ba na-encounter ko niyan? Date. Ayun. For other before recently kasi dito sa Indang nagkaroon tayo ng rapid na yung sikat na for our cars no. Now nakakita ko doon wheel alignment, change oil, and then may free back to zero. Yung back to zero, yun yung pinapatay niya yung germs ng sasakyan mo. Lahat-lahat, molds, ganon. So, kung sino man yung, sabi ko nga, kung sino man siguro yung suspected mo na may COVID, sama mo dun pag pinausukan, baka mawala. Now, ano yung meron? Sa kanila organized, ang daming, may form sila. Pagtingin ko nga, Diyos ko po, parang form ng maglo-loan. But the good thing is, yung mga information doon is easily inputted nang hindi ako kailangan magsulat kasi nauulit lang. No, yung mga kailangan nilang info, nailagay na nila based on dun sa inquiry ko pa lang. Kasi before ako pumunta, nag-inquire muna ako eh. So, alam na nila lahat. I can say that it offloads the task. Okay. Well, another is breaking task into bite-sized chunks. So, if a task contains a lot of steps and actions required for the user side, so much better daw putol-putulin natin, wag natin ilagay doon sa isang window. Ito yung example niya. No? So, ito yung chunking natin. No? Personal, and then tapos na, address, para nga hindi na tayo nagbabrowse, nandun na siya sa payment window. Makikita nyo din to mostly sa e-commerce applications, no? But ang nakita ko nito is nitong nakaraan, wait lang, pati yung offloading eh. Yun pong LBPI access. Before kasi if in order to have an LBPI access account, kailangan mong pumunta sa bangko mo. So syempre sa land bank 'yun. So, masyado malayo, nag-cater sila ng online. Wherein syempre masyado madaming information is naka simplify din 'yon kagaya nito. Now, use familiar screens. So, familiar screens are screens that users see in many applications. They don't require additional explanation because users are already familiar with them. Kunwari, nasa klase si Sir, okay, give 2 to 3 examples of familiar screens, plus 3, tumawag. Yan yung siguro kung nandun tayo sa Google Meet or Zoom, no, yun yung naghahanghang. Kusate. Okay. So examples of familiar screens are, wait, isipin ko. Search results. Okay. Another is getting started screen. Okay. And ang kapatid niya, what's new. Ayan yung examples ng familiar screens natin. So, consider natin yan para pag nag-start yung user, maganda yung receptionist natin. Parang yun yung familiar screens. Next is, so ito medyo madaming kapatid. Minimize user input. Okay. Typing on a small mobile screen isn't the most comfortable experience. In fact, it's often error prone. Gaya ako, no, kalyo-kalyo, pasmado, kasi mahilig si sir mag-boxing, mag-exercise. So, paano natin mami-minimize yung user input? Ito, sabi dito, here are few practical recommendations to make this process easy. Keep forms as short as possible. So, ito yun. Kesa mag-browse ka, mag-scroll down ka, a rule of thumb in form design is that shorter is better. Ayan. So, much better. And then, combine multiple fields into one easy fill fields. Another example, provide input mask. Okay, field masking. Ano ba yung input mask natin? So, if I can still remember, this is the way to control what data can be entered into forms fields. Okay. Now, ano nga ba yung natin, input mask examples or categories natin? We have, first is numeric. Okay? Baka mapasama sa quiz, kaso hindi naman niya nagpapaquiz si sir, no? We also have alphabetical. The uppercase alphabetical. Ano pa yung isa? Parang sa password. Alphanumeric. And then the uppercase alphanumeric. So, yun yung input mask form fields, categories, or whatsoever na nilalagay natin. Okay? Now, putulin muna ni Sir at nahirapan na naman ako mag-render.